often say as a young woman in politics, you're not taking us seriously. If you're a woman, you're not taking us seriously.
Oh my God,
For someone that looks like me, you're not taking us seriously because of that.
So with your role, is there anything that you want to accomplish before the end of it, like the end of your term?
With your council tax, 70% of that money goes towards demand services, so that's children's services, adult services and housing.
Yeah.
So when you're paying however much you're paying a month, actually 70% of that is basically focused on keeping vulnerable people safe. It is very common for young people to feel disillusioned by politics because the things that we're seeing day to day on the news, if you're even watching it, is politicians having no respect for, you know, for residents, for their constituents, for the country as a whole. You know, some politicians really acting in their own self-interest.
If you've got a passion for something, you're never going to give up.
So growing up and even now, I've always wanted to do different things, and it confused a lot of people. A lot of my teachers would tell me that one part of my life would suffer. Another teacher would tell me that it would be really difficult to balance it all. Today we have someone who is, honestly, when I say a champion of being multifaceted, we have our amazing Umme Ali. Umme, how are you?
Hello. Hi. Thanks for having me here today
God,
on such a hot day. But it's lovely and air-conned in here. So
yeah, it's
great.
Lovely to have you. I'm happy. I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy that you that you're here and you graced our invitation. So thank you very much.
Of course. I'm glad to be here.
So for those people who might not know you, I know that I've spoken about how you do different things, but I want to leave the introduction to you. So if you were to introduce yourself to our listeners, what would it sound like?
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Umme Ali. So I'm a councillor here in Luton, recently became the Deputy Leader of Luton Council. I'm also Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner, and I also do a little bit of work in the NHS as well.
Which is amazing. Can you see how it's, but they're all centered around the same thing, which you spoke about before the cameras went rolling, is they're all around people. You always want to help people, which I think is just beautiful. One thing that you have mentioned, you've just touched on it, but I would like us to go a bit deeper, is that you are now the Deputy Leader of the Luton Borough Council, which first of all is insane to say out loud, and I'm sat next to you. So first of all, congratulations on that. It's a massive feat. But can you just explain what that role means to you professionally and just personally, like what does it feel like when you introduce yourself as the Deputy Leader of Luton Borough Council?
Thank you. It's very odd. I don't think I ever introduce myself as Deputy Leader of Luton Council unless I need to, which I should do more, I think. So for me, I just think it's amazing. So to tell you a little bit about me, I was born in Luton, I grew up here, went to all of the schools in Luton, I've lived here my whole life. So I'm very proud about the town, and I really, really hate when people slate it. When I see on the media that people are saying negative things and things like that, I really hate it. And I actually became a councillor when I was 21 years old. I was still in university, still finishing off uni.
That's crazy.
And it was just so amazing for me because I became a councillor in a town that I love, representing people like myself. And I was the youngest person, obviously. I still am the youngest councillor, even though it's been 5 years. Oh, wow. And yeah, so I think for me, it just means that so what's happened over the years is that I started off as a councillor, and then as time has gone on, been able to have more senior positions. So I became the councillor in charge of children's services in 2024.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So I did loads of stuff around safeguarding, inspections, children in care, all of that stuff. So focusing on that, and a lot of youth engagement. So hearing from young people about what they want in the area and all that other stuff. So I've done all of that. Absolutely love it because I think children and young people is like my thing that I've always wanted to do. And then to be given the opportunity just a few weeks ago to become Deputy Leader means that just that extra step where I'm right there with the leader, with the new leader, focusing on decision making and really setting policy, and it's just being able to decide what we want from Luton based on what residents tell us, and bringing that young people and children's lens in. As someone young and as someone who works in that area all the time, I just think I just love it. I'm so happy. Still don't believe it. Like, it's so weird when I get an email and someone's like, "Dear Deputy Leader," or something like that, because this is the town I grew up in. Like, 10 years ago, if I was in school and you said in 10 years' time you're going to be Deputy Leader of the council, I'd be like, absolutely not.
That's lovely. And I think because you said you worked with children and young people, I think that's probably where we met. Because I believe there was like a workshop we had. Oh, I forgot where it was. Rising Stars. It was you, Councillor Maria. There was like it was really good. It was really good. So for those of you who don't know, my name's Forever. I don't think I even had the opportunity to properly introduce myself, but I'm a senior youth ambassador for social enterprise called Attentive, and we were doing a workshop. We usually work with a lot of young people, and that was where I met Umme for the first time. She was so lovely. So thank you very much for that.
That was so fun. I remember that now. That was so fun. That was really, really good, that workshop.
Yeah.
So I was there technically as Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner, which is my other role that we've spoken about, because we focus a little bit, because in that role I focus on that sort of violence against women and girls area. So I think it was a workshop around that area.
Yeah.
And then Maria was there, Councillor Maria, who is absolutely lovely. And that's the sort of thing that I like. I would much rather be in a room with people talking than being like a meeting looking at spreadsheets.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that it was that. It's fine.
Apart from everyone that's watching the podcast.
Guys, keep it a secret, okay? Don't be telling people.
I love a spreadsheet.
What are your immediate priorities as deputy leader? Like, what are the things that you want to knock off your bucket list for the first couple of months?
Cool. Perfect. That's a really good question, because that's exactly what we're starting on now. And essentially what it is that as a councillor, when I go out and talk to people, when I talk to people as the portfolio holder for children's services, when I just talk to my friends and people that live here that I know and family, when people talk about what they want doing in the town and what needs to improve, it's exactly the things that we want as councillors, but I don't think we convey that or prioritise that as much as a council than we could have. So one of the things that we've recently announced is a campaign, and it's called Getting It Done, essentially.
Ooh.
And we're focused on key areas. So the first area is street cleansing. So we've invested...
I was about to tell you about that.
Exactly that. So it's basically exactly everything that everyone tells us every day. So street cleansing, and we've, as a Labour Council, we've invested £3 million into street cleansing now. And we've only been able to do that this year because we've had extra funding from the government, where for many years we were getting cuts from national government. We had £170 million taken away from our budget over 14 years at the council. So when people say, what did the council do with our money? We're losing money all the time. And we finally, with a new government, being able to actually increase our budget.
That's exciting.
So we're putting that into things that people care about. So £3 million into street cleansing, focusing on deep cleans, like targeted action days, so you can visibly see it.
Thank you.
The other thing is... Exactly, because that's what people say to us all the time. The other thing is parking, because that just comes up all the time, people parking on pavements and things like that. So we're doing lots of work around there. Yeah. We're going to start lifting cars off the streets, all of that stuff, because it's just not acceptable.
We love to see it.
This one's a really important one for me, and the one that I'm really, really enthusiastic about is parks. So everyone tells us, and actually, you know that event that I met you at? Yeah. I don't know if you remember, but there was a young boy that asked about Lucy Park and the swing being broken in it and what we can do about it. So every time I speak to young people and children, they talk about parks and how the parks in Luton are in a bit of a rubbish state, and they don't have access to like go out and play and to do things. And I had a meeting of something called the Child Friendly Luton Board recently, and one of the young people said, like, if you have a park and all of the play equipment is like half broken, what happens is it encourages antisocial behaviour, because it causes like the older teenage kids that might not be
to hang around there and it's turned into a dodgy area instead of just a children's park.
So then younger kids feel like they can't go and play. So I just feel like we're hearing it all the time, the parks and parks and parks. I'm very proud to say that we've put additional funding in, and I can't remember how many million, but we've put extra funding in to refurbish every single park in Luton. So in the next 2 years,
I cannot wait.
Every single park in Luton will be new, basically, unless they've recently been done. So we have a schedule of events, a lot of them, a schedule of, what do you call it? Like a schedule of when they're going to do it. So they're consulting
like
on
a timeline.
Exactly that. So they're consulting on some of them now, they're going to consult on some of them next month and the month after. They're starting works in July on a couple of the parks. But basically, it's like a very speedy, quick process to get every park done in the next 2 years. But hopefully by December, we'll have about 20-ish done. and that would be absolutely
beautiful.
ideal. That's what we've been told we can do, because we've kind of been pushing to see how quickly we could do it. Things might slow down, but that's the thing that I'm most passionate about for my priorities. So so those are the so it's street cleansing, parking, parks and play areas, and part of that is around like rejuvenating some of the sports pitches and other bits as well, so we put some money into that. And then the final one was around sort of like antisocial behaviour in the town centre.
Oh yeah.
Which is a really difficult thing to approach.
That, yeah.
Exactly. And it's like a multi-agency thing, so you can't just do that by policing, you can't just do that by council work.
There's a lot of things. There's addiction involved, there's homelessness involved, there's like little bits and pieces that just connect to it.
Yeah, so this is exactly what we're talking about, and actually what we're trying to do is take a public health approach. So like, you can't just enforce your way out of that. You know, if someone's got drug addiction or alcohol addiction, there's so much complexity around that.
Instead of just telling them off and shooing them away.
Exactly,
that makes sense.
because they'll go and then the officers will leave and then they'll come back.
Exactly.
Because you've not tackled the root cause, and that's what the focus is on. It's on tackling the root cause. So those are our 4 political priorities. So where you said, sorry, I know you asked the question ages ago, but where you said, what are we focusing on? It's that basically. I mean, like more simply, it's just like getting used to it and the role, and like how it's a bit different to when I wasn't deputy leader, but focusing on those roles and then focusing on our comms. So we're working a lot on like, there's lots of things that we do, but we don't communicate it with residents well. So people think it's not happening. So we're trying to like bring people along the way.
Yeah.
That's why we've got a slogan, getting it done, because that's Luton Council, getting it done, your priorities. So I'm really, really excited because it feels like we're just moving, and thanks to the extra funding we've got from government, we are able to invest in those areas that people care about. Because you might not know, but with your council tax, 70% of that money goes towards demand services. So that's children's services, adult services and housing. Yeah. So when you're paying however much you're paying a month, actually 70% of that is basically focused on keeping vulnerable people safe, children, adults, housing. The remaining 30% is for everything else. That's bins, street cleansing, all that stuff. So when people talk about where's all council tax money going, that is what the situation we're in. And don't quote me on 70, something around 70. So it might be 72, it might be 68, but but not a lot of people don't know that. And when you have cuts for years and years, and the government takes money away,
it takes a toll on it.
You have to focus on those demand areas because you need to, and that means less money is available for things like street cleansing, and that's why we've seen a decline. But now we're getting more money, and we're putting into those areas. It won't be perfect. I just must say that.
But it's a start.
It's going to take a time.
It's a start.
And a part of it is residents' responsibility. One of the things we've said is our commitment is to do what we can, but as residents, as business owners and stuff, if you're putting fly tipping every day, like what happened, I represent Hightown Ward, and the cleansing team went out and cleared out fly tipping at like 4 o'clock the other day. By the next morning, they came out again at 9 a.m. and more had gone. They literally just cleared it up. So there's something around us appreciating where we live and
trying our best to keep it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's perfect. Well, I'm happy that you're excited. You seem like, because you know, like people, they will just like say what they have to do, but the way you've just presented now shows me that you are. So I can't wait to have my new parks. I can't wait for clean streets. I'm excited, and I'm happy that it's in your hands because I know you're a very capable person. So the fact that you're mentioning it with such enthusiasm means something's going to happen, something's going to change. And first of all, I'm really happy. I did not know that the budget cuts were that bad. That makes more sense as to why the other things that we thought that the physical things we could see, like the streets were not being cleaned, and that's why we kept complaining. But that makes a lot of sense now. So I'm happy we got some extra funding for that. That's honestly really good.
Yeah.
Another one of your roles is Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner. So you've been, the role we just talked about now, Deputy Leader for Luton Borough Council, is fairly new. But for Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner, you've been there for like a while. I don't remember how long it was, but it's definitely a lot like older than the new role you just got like some 3 weeks ago.
2 years, I think. Well, has it been 2024 June? So that's 2 years, right?
Yeah. That's
2
2 years exactly. Yeah, perfect.
Exactly that, yeah. So I've been doing that role for a little bit longer. So I, again, started that role a couple of years ago. I only do that role part-time. And essentially the Police and Crime Commissioner appointed me as his deputy to sort of complement him. So I don't know if you've ever met John. Have you met him?
Yeah, a couple of times.
So John is very different to me. But I think that's why it works well.
Yeah, because opposites. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And I think what's great about John is he like understood and reflected that, because the experiences that I have and the experiences that he have are very, very different. And one of the things he asked me to lead on is he has 7 missions, and one of his missions is protecting women and children. So that's leading on all the stuff around violence against women and girls and things like that. So, I don't do any day-to-day, anything like that, but thinking about strategy and policy around violence against women and girls, thinking about victims and victim support services that there is out there for violence, for women that experience violence. And for me, one thing I've been really passionate about in that role is accessibility. So like, we have lots of victim services, but if your victim services are only accessible to the sort of demographic that can speak really good English, and that
doesn't
they're not
work very well, does
exactly,
it? Yeah.
Or that they only have online services, so the people that aren't digitally good with digital stuff can't access it, or they're not culturally aware, because there are some aspects of like domestic violence and other things, FGM, all of that.
Yeah, I get it.
Exactly.
I get it. Yeah.
So that's been a big thing for me, is when we're commissioning support services, we're looking at grassroots buy-in for organisations that are local, that really understand all of those issues, because in Luton we're such a diverse community.
We're insanely diverse.
In Bedfordshire
in terms
as a whole.
of everything. Yeah. Even like, there's this thing I read about, I think it's called, I forgot what it's like, it's a drift in technology, where my experiences with the computer might be different to yours. And a lot of agencies and a lot of just businesses in general, they think that putting things online makes it easier for everyone, whereas there's people who genuinely, and I'm not even joking with you, prefer pen and paper because it's easier to them. So there's that drift. And I think because of the way Luton is and because of the way we are, there's people from different cultures, there's people with different mindsets, there's people who've lived different, like drastically different experiences, and we need a system that accommodates all of that. So I'm very happy again for your supporting with that. We had a project. It was called Violence Against Women and Girls, but which is kind of what you lead on, which is quite exciting. But the way this project was structured, it was like an event, and we had it was beautiful. Just thinking about some of the artwork.
Was it where you had painting?
Exactly.
And you were doing like musical theatre, not musical theatre. What do you call it? Like it was like performance, dancing, singing.
Yeah, poetry as well. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's really good. Oh my God, I must have not been paying attention then, or maybe I just didn't know that it was you exactly.
I think sometimes, if I don't introduce myself as who I am, I think I'm kind of just there as an observer, because I think that's why sometimes you might not realise, because I kind of just. But I really enjoyed the event. I was with Sarah Owen, the MP for Luton North there. I remember that day. It was really good.
It was because sometimes I just sit down and I think about some of the artwork that was made. It was beautiful. Some of the messages that was on there were just, I know it sounds like tale as old as time, but hearing it from a younger generation really does speak volumes. And a lot of the artwork was from men as well, which was just like, bang on. Yes, I love that.
And that's the important thing when you talk about violence against women and girls, is that you need men.
Yeah, it can't just be women creating the art as well.
Yeah, but in every aspect, we can't put it all on women to protect yourself, to stay safe, to dress a certain way.
Oh yeah.
It needs to be men changing their behaviours.
Exactly.
So when you see young people getting involved and there were so many young men there, that's really encouraging for me, for the next generation, when at the moment we've got a generation where a lot of what I see online is, the sort of manosphere and all of that stuff. So yeah, no, I'm really passionate about that side of work, because I think it's very, oh my God, very cliche to say, but rewarding, but also like feeling that you can make a bit of an impact in making sure that everyone has access to services, regardless of your background and things like that, and support, basically.
Yeah, amazing. So with your role, is there anything that you want to accomplish before the end of it, like the end of your term? Not the more newer one, not like the deputy leader. We still have a long way to go. I'm waiting for my parks and my clean streets on that one, so I'm just going to keep it aside. But as you are a deputy to John Tizard, is there something that you wanted to accomplish before your term finishes? Yeah.
So I'm going to say 2 things. So the deputy leader term, the elections are next May. So I probably need to start accomplishing things then, and I can tell you that we will accomplish the parks 20 or however much I've committed. Don't tell the council officers that, because they'll get annoyed at me for committing this in a podcast. But I want to achieve that. I want us to, the leader, I don't know if you've met Tamina, the leader, but she's been very clear about what we want to achieve, and those priorities and what we're saying we want to achieve and getting it done, I'm certain we will achieve that. It won't be perfect, but we will definitely get tangible things done, like this many parks have done, and you guys like the parks, and we're consulting young people on what the park should look like and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to get done in that aspect.
Okay.
Before the next election, where I might be deselected, not deselected. What do you call it? I might not.
I don't really know.
Get voted in again. Essentially, might get kicked out. So so that's the thing. The other thing is the deputy PCC. So that's that ends. Our term ends a year after, so that's 2028.
Okay.
For me, I would like system change to come out of that. So this is what John, as PCC, has been focusing on: is how do we change the system so the things that we do now are sustainable, and after we've left, other people can carry it on. So one of the projects that I'm working on that I'm really keen to get moving, and it's such a big project, and people call me crazy for trying to achieve it, but it's called Trauma-Informed Bedfordshire.
Okay.
And you might not know much about trauma-informed practice, but trauma-informed practice is basically about understanding and reflecting on trauma when you're interacting with people. So that means, so what I want is people that work in the domestic abuse space and things like that, they will usually have training around being trauma-informed, so understanding why a person presents the way that they are could be due to trauma. So people that work in those spaces, they have the training. Yeah. The problem is when a victim comes to a service and they say, they turn up to reception at the council and they say, I'm homeless, and they might be stressed, and they might be anxious, they might be aggressive. There's lots of other things that can happen. Yeah. The people that they speak to in the council, and the people that they speak to at reception, if they don't have an understanding and reflection on how to be trauma-informed, so the approach,
I get it,
is different. So there's a way, and people say to me, it's customer service skills. That's what people say to me.
There's a difference,
but it's not.
There's a difference. There genuinely is. Yeah.
So it's understanding the trauma, and then also, so essentially, that's what I want to do in that project. Is I want Bedfordshire to be a county where in the local authorities, police and health, we all come together to make sure that everyone within the organisation is trauma informed. So that's your bin men, that's your receptionist, that's your housing team.
You never know what you're going to hear from the person that you're working. It really, as a receptionist, you could, like you just said, someone might just come in and just say, I'm homeless, and then that's it, and then you have to work your way through that. But some people might just come in, and you might not even be expecting that conversation out of them, but just exchanging. When you're just talking, oh, the weather's lovely. Oh, would you like some coffee? How's your day been? And people start opening up to you. You need to understand how to handle yourself and handle that situation, and it really is a lot. And I think the idea of that is sound because I don't know how to explain it, but it makes people less scared of coming out and speaking to people about things that they're going through. It makes it easier for people to open up.
I think the impact of doing that, because one aspect is around training and making sure people are doing that, but I'm also looking at policies and procedures. So if your housing policy says that if someone makes themselves homeless intentionally, then they're not going to be entitled to council housing, it's not that straightforward, is it? Because if you've made yourself homeless intentionally because you're experiencing domestic violence, that's not the same thing.
That doesn't really,
understanding, being curious. So that's the other side of things, the policies and procedures. So that's a big project that is massive, and there's so much that we need to do. We need to get everyone on board in terms of across the system. But I think that's a project that if we can get moving, get done, get started, but before the end of our term, it will make an impact. And I can imagine in 5 years, in 10 years, you'll have less people coming in. There's lots of evidence and data around this. You'll have less people coming into the system needing support because actually the first person they spoke to respected
didn't do
them.
anything.
Yeah, so that's what happens, is the first person you speak to when you go to reception or you go to the police or you go to the hospital to report abuse, if that person, that first interaction is not good,
mismanages it,
then they just go back
south. Yeah.
Whereas if the first person was trauma informed, it stops you from being re-traumatized and going through things. So I'm really oversimplifying it, but yes, that's what I want to achieve. There's other things as well, but I'll stop there on that one because I really waffle. By the way, just to let you guys know, sorry, that whoever's listening, I never stop talking. I just talk too much. So if you get me talking, I'm just going to carry on. So please interrupt me.
No, it's okay.
That's my personality trait. Like when I was in school, that's what the teachers used to say. They say Umme's very clever, but she won't stop talking.
Fair enough. I was actually just about to go down that road actually, because you've spoken about a lot of like work stuff, and I understand that the demographic of listeners that we have is quite varied. So I was wondering if you would just like to share like what's one thing about you that people don't really know, besides obviously like your teacher said that Umme's very clever but she doesn't keep. What's something else that people can be like, oh my god, you would never tell?
Yeah, okay. So every time someone asks me for a fun fact about me, I always say there's no fun facts, because like I'm just actually quite a boring person. Like I really like to sleep, I like my bed.
I love sleeping.
And yeah, sometimes it's not really a fun fact that I talk a lot, because everyone knows that I talk a lot. But interesting fact about me is obviously I qualified to be a dietitian. I obviously work in a different type of dietetics now with children that have cancer, but I'm a dietitian and I have the worst diet ever. And my favourite food is chips.
No.
So whenever I tell people that my favourite food is chips, they're like, I'd never expect that from you. And I'm like, absolutely. And if I go out to eat with my friends, like they all know, they're all like, Umme, we know you're picky. As long as there's chips on the menu, you'll be okay.
Of course.
And like, I went to, what's it called? The Ivy Asia in St. Paul's recently with my friend.
Yeah.
And it's lovely, it's beautiful. And I just remember my friend texted me before we went and she said, Umme, I just want to warn you, there's no chips on the menu. And I was like, oh. But I guess I'm going to have to grow up and do that. So that's probably a fun fact.
Fair enough. No, because the way you sound and the way you come across is like very, very like proper, very, very like have everything's in order. I even like fold my socks in the morning.
Oh no,
that's
I'm so chaotic. One thing I have to say is chaos is like, it just surrounds me. Like I just forget everything. I drop things everywhere. Like I come across as like
calm and collected. Yeah.
I'm not calm and collected. Oh my god, I'm so much chaos.
Oh
like,
god.
Trust me. And
fair enough.
You wouldn't believe it. So yeah, so definitely not.
Oh my god. That's good to know.
That's what helps me be able to do all three roles, because I just like being everywhere, being engaged, and having lots of things to do. And
I get that, because most of the time people, when you want to do more than one role, they're like, people, I don't even know, they just like to stick to one. I forgot the name, I was trying to look this up before, but I got distracted. I don't know what I was doing, but I got distracted. But there's a specific genius where he's very known, I forgot his name, but he did quite like a lot of things. So people only know him for arts, but he was also like a philosopher, he was also like a physicist, like he did like a lot of stuff, but people only know him for arts, which is crazy, because I feel like there's a lot of people who are like that in our modern day and time, but they're being told to stick to one thing, and the other gifts that they have just suffer and they don't get like as much attention as they need to. So the fact that even like in your chaos you can find beauty and you can like do all these different things and still find some sort of balance is insane. And I feel like it's something that's inspiring.
I have to be realistic with you though, it's not always balanced, it's very stressful.
Oh my god.
And there's a lot of demand on it, so I won't say to you, guys, everyone go out and get loads of different jobs, especially high stress ones like in politics.
Oh my god.
But that, you know, it can happen, and if you don't know what you want to do, because that was kind of what you said at the start, like everyone's trying to tunnel themselves into one career and one thing that they want to do. You don't need to do that. I started my degree thinking my NHS role is exactly what I want to do and I absolutely love it and I don't want to let go of it, and that's why I still do some of it now. But I accidentally then became, not accidentally, but kind of accidentally became a politician because I just thought, yeah, let's go and fix everything, and it wasn't that simple. But I just became a politician, and then this deputy PCC thing came up and now deputy leader, and who knows what's next. Maybe I won't do anything like that.
Maybe she'll be an actress.
Maybe I'll be I did GCSE drama and I loved acting when I was in school, and no one ever believes that about me. Well, actually some people believe that about me because I'm a bit of a drama queen and I talk a lot. But like, yeah, that's when I was younger, I was like, I love acting, but I couldn't do it now.
Yes, you can. I believe in you. I believe in you, Umme. Come on, let's do this.
Maybe in like 20 years' time, I'll retire from like serious stuff, and then I'll be like, you know, do some musical theatre or something. Oh, also, I can't sing. If you want to know another fun fact about me, is I'm tone deaf.
Oh God, really?
I've not been diagnosed, but I have a friend who's a neurologist, and they said that you're probably like tone deaf. So I'm taking it as like a diagnosis.
It's a diagnosis either way. So obviously you've done a lot of things, but I feel like one thing that even people who have multifaceted careers, they always kind of mention this bit is the passion for what they do. I feel like it kind of drives them. So I would assume, although correct me if I'm wrong, you do have a lot of passion for people and that's what drives you in what you do. But how hard is it for you, or how do you manage to stay motivated? Because sometimes, I won't lie to you, as someone who really just likes talking to people, sometimes I don't want to see anybody's face. I really don't. I can't do it. So how do you motivate yourself?
Yeah, you're right, that the people is like what drives me. I think that, and that's always like when I was younger and I wasn't ever thinking of being a politician, it was I wanted to work in the NHS with people, talk to people, because I told you earlier, like I don't ever shut up, like I'm always talking. So that's one aspect, but you're right, what you're saying there around how do you do it, I struggle with that sometimes, because what I find is like I have an intense day where I'm talking to people and then I'm having meetings and then I'm doing engagement with the public, and then you get to that point where you go home and you're like, I don't want to have any more conversations.
No, please, I can't talk to anyone anymore.
That's exactly what it is. So I do get that as well. I think I might get it a little bit less than some people, because I think I'm just a bit like I say I'm extroverted, but I also feel like I'm a little bit introverted.
It's weird for me because I can't decide what I am.
Me too.
To be fair,
because I can be extroverted sometimes, but then sometimes
I'm just like, no, I don't want to come to your party. It doesn't mean I'm not your friend. I just don't want to be
exactly that. So I don't really have time for a social life, but if I know, like, if someone's saying, like, oh, why don't you do this? And I'm like, oh my God, but I'm working until like 6 o'clock and then I have to get there for 7 o'clock, you know, and then I have to have conversation and make small talk.
And like be like alive in the brain. It's just
if I could be there and just be a moody, quiet version of myself, I would just scrolling on my phone, then yeah, of course I can. But then everyone's going to think you're mad and like, why are you acting like that?
You? Oh, you're all right. No, I am all right. Just give me some space.
I've had so many conversations today and my voice is hurting and so
I get it.
I think it's hard. I think it's hard for everyone, and if anyone says that, you know, they can keep doing it, I think there may be some people that can manage it, but I think
the majority of us can't. We need our space. In as much as we're social beings, we need some time away to just recuperate.
I go home and that's exactly what I do. Like I would just doom scroll and not talk to anyone and not say a single word for hours or watch Netflix. And that's like my hobby, like literally just doom scrolling and watching.
It's great to see someone in politics who actually is kind of like us, who gets tired of talking to people.
A lot of people. Everyone talks about politicians like we're aliens, and I think some of them are aliens.
Are like pitch perfect.
No, I think some of them are aliens, but I think a lot of us are normal. And I have to say, hopefully you think I'm a human.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can see because some people would just be like, oh no, the people keep me going. Even at 2 a.m. I'm up, I'm wet. I'm like, you what now? But it's good to see that there's someone, especially because you're young in age as well. So it's good to see that it's not too far off. Like there's probably a young Umme Ali in a school who doesn't even know that this might be her type of role, who doesn't even know that she could even do things like this. And it's great to see that you're here and you're a personal person, you're approachable, we can talk to you for hours, but not too long because you get tired. And that's a thing, and that's great. It's lovely to see, honestly. There's something that I have to be honest with you about, and I feel like it's something that it transcends with people in schools and just young people in general. Not even really young people, a lot of people are like this, and it's political apathy, where people don't want anything to do with politics. They don't even like the word politics. It really does bug them and it bothers them, which I can understand because of the way things have been looking. As someone who is in politics and who wants to make a difference and who is young, what is your advice to people who are struggling, who don't want to vote, they don't even want to watch the news, so they feel like ignorance is the best answer. If you don't know it, it can't hurt you. What's your advice to them?
To be honest with you, I don't blame them. I think that it is very common for young people to feel disillusioned by politics, because the things that we're seeing day to day on the news, if you're even watching it, is politicians having no respect for, for residents, for their constituents, for the country as a whole. Some politicians really acting in their own self-interest. And I think when I was young, and part of the reason I became a councillor was kind of it was happening during COVID. So I was really angry at the government at the time because it was COVID and there was lockdowns, and I was working in care and I was doing my placement at uni in the NHS, and we were all working really hard with no PPE and all these things, and then the government were having parties, COVID parties, and it really angered me. So I said, I'm going to go and get into that and let me fix them. Local politics, you can't fix that, but I just thought at least I can do something for my community. Because do you know what I'm trying to say is I understand, but then I would also be the realistic side of when you do go into politics, it's very easy to lose what you're there for. And I can say that I understand why that happens to politicians sometimes, because things take forever. There's so much bureaucracy. Sometimes you have a lot less control than you think you have.
Think you do. Yeah.
So sometimes people go into this role and then they don't end up delivering what they're saying they're delivering, but sometimes it's out of your control, and sometimes it's influence, it's being around people. Like I can say as a young woman in politics, and everything that I do, there's times where I've said, and when young people have asked me to get involved in politics, like I always say, I think you absolutely should get involved.
Yeah.
Talk about this. I want you guys to get involved. And one of the things I wanted to end this show on was, if you're a young person looking to get involved in politics, there are local elections next year. Run. Join a party or run as an independent. That was one of the things I was going to say. But on the realistic side as well, is that it's very difficult for a young person in politics. And I have to say I've had to have very thick skin throughout, because as young people, you're not taking us seriously. If you're a woman, you're not taking us seriously. For someone that looks like me, you're not taking us seriously because of that. I'll go into rooms and people will assume that I'm doing something very random, like bringing the teas or just walking past.
Oh my God.
And then later, I'll have a whole conversation with someone, and later they'll say, oh, sorry, I didn't realise. And I'll come up on the stage and they'll say, I didn't realise you're a deputy PCC, you're a deputy leader. And then they'll start off with me.
Like you have to look a certain way to have those job roles.
Exactly.
It's very weird.
But the reason I mention that is not to put people off, but to say that unless more people that are young, like us, go into politics, you won't shift the narrative from it being like an older male thing. So I don't know if I answered your question, but what I was trying to say is that I understand why you're apathetic, but please get involved. But know that if you do get involved, it is very difficult, and I'm not going to sell you a dream that it's lovely and amazing, because there's been very, very difficult days. But then there's also positivity.
Yeah,
we're going to get the parks done, and I can't wait to go on the slide.
The parks.
Once they're done.
Okay, great. Finally, to close the show, throughout your career in healthcare, you have a career in policing, and finally government, you've built a wealth of experience from wearing different hats and being in different rooms as different versions of your authentic self. What advice would you give to young people who want to get involved in leadership, who want to get involved in public service roles? What would be like your main close-off advice for them?
I would say do it in any way that you can. So email people, contact us, it depends what kind of role it is, but you need to put yourself there. So I think it's really easy to think you want to do it, and then actually it becomes really difficult and something else distracts you and things like that. That's how I am. So if I didn't have when I first became a councillor, I was just thinking, do you know what, I'm just going to try it, and it's never ever going to happen, I'm going to apply, and then I kept getting through the stages. It's like that. So if you want to do it, you need to keep pushing to do it. So learn from people, do some shadowing, see if that you can do some mentoring and push forward. And I really want young people to do that, to be in public roles, in roles like this, just like what I just said to you a little earlier, because if you guys don't do that, then
the narrative
you can't change. And you can complain that people are making decisions for you, but they're always going to make decisions for you. You're always going to struggle with apathy and things like that until you get involved. And things won't change immediately, and everything takes forever, and I'm really, really impatient. So I get that, but little bits will move, like the parks and the other bits.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. Hopefully anyone who's watching understood what we were trying to say. It makes sense for you to be apathetic, but please do not stay there. You have to move. If not, nothing else will move around you, and it will just be like a repetitive cycle of you complaining and nothing being done. Thank you so much for gracing this, Umme. Finally, I said finally before, but finally, yeah. If people wanted to contact you, if they wanted to speak to you, if they wanted to reach out to you, what do you think is the best way for them to reach out to you? Is there like a website or LinkedIn?
So I avoid social media because people are horrible, but I do have a LinkedIn page, so you can connect with me on there. But if you want to email me about actual issues in the area, particularly as a councillor, you can find my email on the council website. So it's umme.ali@luton.gov.uk. If you want to email about deputy PCC stuff, it's umme.ali@beds.police.uk.
Okay, so then I said final, and then I said final. So this is like final, 3 times the charm. Okay, final. Yeah. Okay. What is your round of advice for young people as a whole?
Just get involved. Get yourself in those rooms and keep doing it, and keep shouting and keep speaking. And I don't know, that's not a very straightforward answer, but just get involved. I think just get involved.